HIMS Lifestyle Innovation.
Thank you everyone for joining us today for our webinar on test taking in the classroom with assistive technology for low vision and blindness. We are excited to have you all on the line joining us live today. What we will cover today includes some student and teacher favorite products for blindness, some favorite products for low vision, specific ways to use some of our AT products for different types of tests and assessments and lessons, from multiple choice to essay questions, weekly tests to standardized tests. And we will have some audience questions and comments at the end, so everyone will be able to ask their questions once we've gotten through some of the material. I'm going to bring Andy into the fold. Andy, if you want to get things started with a little bit about who is HIMS and then dive into some of our blindness tips.
Absolutely. Michelle, thank you. I want to say hello to everyone out there. This is Andy Leach here, and I am one of the regional sales managers at HIMS. I cover a lot of area in the Midwest and Southeastern United States, but all of us get around as need be. So feel free to use all of our staff as resources. So the first thing we'll talk about quickly is who is HIMS. And we're a U.S.-based sales and support and repair group. We have customer-centric values, and we also have truly unique product features. And some of that we'll get into today, especially as it pertains to education. And the other thing that is a little unique for us, many people on our staff are AT users ourselves. So even our president is visually impaired. So we do take these products and the way they level the playing field very seriously. We are a global leader in developing and manufacturing of assistive technology for the blind and also for visually impaired individuals. And we continuously strive to lead the way in new products development, and we prove our leadership in the assistive technology industry by being first to market with countless new products and innovations. So that's a little bit about who we are. For anyone that doesn't know, our headquarters is Austin, Texas. When you send something back for repairs, that's where it's going. When you call up and talk to Michael or Lewis in tech support, that's where your call is going to. So that's also where our warehouse is. So we do a lot out of there. Then there are a few of us, Michael, who you'll hear from later today, and me, and Damien, and our education champion, Dave Wilkinson. We're all remote, so we spend way too much time on airplanes anyway, so we're able to be anywhere. The first thing I want to talk about as it pertains to education is our Braille Sense U2 family of note takers. So that's the Mini, the Braille Sense U2, and the Braille Sense U2 QWERTY. For those of you that don't know, we just released a new build last night. And if you haven't downloaded it yet, you should take the time to go out and download it. We've added a document reader. So you don't have to use the word processor anymore to read documents that you've brought in, especially ones that you don't want to change. We've added NLS support, very similar to our Bookshare support. We have also increased our UEB support. It's already been there for over 3 years at some level, but we've added to we've enhanced that offering. And we can also use our devices standalone or as a Braille display or standalone. We can capitalize on all the features that we have on board. Or you can connect to computers or tablets, your choice. Some of the unique apps are the Excel viewer, the PowerPoint, which is just, we've been able to show PowerPoint quite some time. But what I can do now with this recent release is connect a monitor to my Braille Sense U2 And then I can show a PowerPoint presentation where I'm driving it on the Braille Sense U2 and the audience is seeing it on the monitor. So that's a pretty powerful feature. Whether you're in education, whether you're in employment, it's a great tool. We've also we've had for quite a while now Dropbox for file exchanging information. You know, whether you have other blind coworkers or students that you're working with, or whether you have people that use other devices, you're able to use Dropbox to exchange relevant files with students and teachers alike. The media. We've always had a wide variety of media, recording. We've had Daisy for better classroom notes, and don't forget about things like the built-in GPS, the compass, the Google Maps that are already on board. We've also recently, I can't remember if this is 1 or 2 releases ago, but we added the ability to write macros. So this allows you to save time, increase your efficiency, and use a lot less keystrokes. So I've touched on a couple of the things here that make our device, that give us strength when it comes to not only education but personal use. But what I want to talk about now is password, the ability to set up passwords to protect your device, and also the function lock for disabling specific applications during testing situations. So, you know, we also have a top secret way to lock down the device in a procedure. So, I'm going to show you here today how you have access to turn off around 80 options inside the Braille Sense, and then how you can password protect those. So, and if you think about it, whether you're taking a test that you give every week, whether you're going into a standardized test, whether it's a quiz that you want the student to do, and then you want to, say, leave Dropbox open so they can send it to you upon completion, those are the kinds of activities that our product allows you to offer to the student. And it gives versatility. So if somebody says, yeah, I'm not that comfortable in Dropbox. Maybe they're only in 3rd grade and they don't know yet. Well, you can say that's fine. You can email me and then attach the document when you're done. So you just have to make sure that you haven't turned that feature off in the password protection. The next thing I want to talk about quickly is our Braille Edge. So it is a 40-cell Braille display, and it also offers connectivity to tablets, to iDevices, to Macs, to PCs and laptops. And on board, a lot of educational institutions like the Braille Edge because it has a Notetaker. So I can open DOCX files, for example, but I have to save them as doc files. So I have a note-taking capability. I also have a countdown timer, a schedule utility, a time and date stamp, a calculator. And I also have the terminal mode where I could go to connect to my devices. Here's the thing that you need to know about using the Edge as a classroom tool. When you take out the SD card, the only thing it can do at that point is connect with other devices. So if you're a teacher and you want to give me a test and you want to have a document on an SD card that I can look at, and then fill in my answers, and then save my work, and then hand you the SD card, you can go in and look at that SD card afterwards and see exactly, you can look at the question followed up by my answers. So that is another device that has really helped students when it comes to test taking. And not only in a test taking situation, you can have presentation notes, you can exchange files with other classmates or students, and you can also save files that you're going to need. You can have as many SD cards as you'd like. So there's always options to have things at your fingertips. That's a little bit about our Braille Edge. What I'll do now is I'll go in and restore the functionality to the Braille Sense here. Wait a second.
Set function lock dialog box. Password, computer edit box. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Confirm, button. Document reader, A. File manager, S. Document reader.
Okay, and now I'm going to have to reboot again. And once I get back, I can go in and resume all the functionality of this unit. So the other things that, while the unit's rebooting, that we can talk about quickly, some of our other products that are helpful for students and information would be our Blaze products, our EZ and our ET. For those of you that may not know, those are portable digital daisy players with OCR, and they are, hang on a second. So we turn the word processor back on. See what else I turned off. I'll turn that back on. Turn that back on. Turn these things back on. And we also have our 14-cell Braille display, the Smart Beetle. And it has the unique, some of its unique features include connecting to 6 different devices simultaneously, 5 Bluetooth and 1 USB. And I got sidetracked when I was turning these functions back on, but also back with the Blaze ET and the Blaze EZ, portable digital daisy book players with voice recorders, with OCR, with color identification, and like all the HIMSS product, we try to come out with 2 firmware releases a year. Once you own the product, those are free. So these products, the Smart Beetle and the Blaze products, those are just going to continue to get better. So anytime you can offer these things to your students and give them tools to level the playing field, it contributes a great deal to making them successful.
We're going to continue on with the HIMSS low vision products that are being used in the school systems. Before I do that, though, let me introduce myself. I'm Michael Rowley. I'm the Northeast Regional Manager. Some of you may have met in my travels. But regardless, education is the sweet spot for HIMSS, not only from the Braille side, but also from the low vision. We're meeting with a lot of schools out there throughout the country, holding workshops. I invite all the TVIs out there who have worked within public school systems and so forth to invite us to do a workshop in your school, in your district. That's a great way to really get hands-on with our products. I want to start out by talking about the Candy 5 HD, which is our portable magnifier. It's got a 5-inch HD screen, which is a little bit larger than most of the other products out there on the market. It's got very tactile buttons to be able to push, very easy to find the different settings. It's lightweight. It weighs about 7 ounces. It has a magnification field between 5 times and 22 times. We have various positions, which I'll get into, and how this can be worked. We have a freeze frame function that you can freeze an image, or in this case, say a math equation, and bring it closer to your eyes. And we have multiple color contrast settings. As far as the different benefits for students in the classroom, I mean, it depends on the age group. A lot of students who start out younger start out with smaller magnifiers. This one's a great one because it has a handle. It can be extended to 3 different positions, left-handed, right-handed. And again, we have the tactile buttons that you're able to make changes with. The actual handle folds underneath of it, and then we have what I consider a track, which it can be held flat on a piece of paper, a book, a math equation, and you can just scroll across with it. Makes it a little easier to maneuver from sentence to sentence for longer reading. And then we also, it comes with a reading stand that's inclusive with the product that allows the magnification to get a little lower, down to about 2.5 times, and be able to keep it in its stand, and you can actually maneuver it to be tilted toward the user so they can see a little bit better without leaning over the product and getting possibly a stiff neck. And again, a nice feature with the Candy, which people have taken advantage of, it has a distance and near viewing. We have an actual camera button on the handle that will allow you to use it like a real camera and hold it with one hand by the handle and be able to take a snapshot, if you will, of something in the distance. Now, again, we're not talking anything within 6 feet, not 25 feet. So it's nice to be able to take that image, and then you can manipulate that and make changes to the background and the size once it's frozen. It'll store up to 5 images, and those images will be deleted. The oldest image will be deleted with the new one. So it allows the student inside to be able to look at the board. You can magnify maps, computer screens. You have the ability to turn the lights off, which is unique to some of the portables, without getting any glare from an LCD display. That's very important. So you can do that as well. And we also have something built into our portables which is very unique. We have a mirror image. It's kind of unique. It's a very nice image. And again, whether you take advantage of it or not, it's always built into the product. Real simply, I mean, the real customization of the Candy 5 HD is that you have many contrasts. Most of the portables come with contrast, as well as larger CCTVs and video magnifiers. It's really to choose the background that works best for you. So we do give you options as far as the different backgrounds are concerned, natural color for looking at anything in color, red, greens, blues. And the real display of this particular product is extraordinary. Comparably speaking, everybody remarks about the image display with the Candy 5. And then the freeze frame, again, I mentioned, is be able to take a snapshot, if you will, and bring that image closer to you, whether it's in a book or at a distance, and be able to view it. You can manipulate the backgrounds, change from white to black on white, color. You can manipulate whatever you want after the fact. So the freeze frame does come in handy, and it's very, very much used by the students out there. This is our elite product here. We're going to talk about the eBot Pro, which in the way I coin it is called Education Robot. This is probably the most technologically advanced and unique product as far as video magnifiers that I'm aware of on the marketplace today. It allows for transportability. It's lightweight. It weighs 7 pounds. Fits comfortably in its custom case with shoulder strap, backpacks, or handles, however you want to maneuver from class to class. The uniqueness of eBot is that it has a wireless connection. There's no product in the world on the marketplace that has a wireless connection to Mac, Android, laptops, computers, whatever the student's using, tablets. We will connect wirelessly to the eBot and display the image on for an example, on an iPad. And you say, how can that be done? Well, we have our own proprietary Wi-Fi built into the product. Thus, you do not need Wi-Fi coming from any building. So potentially, you could take this out at recess or outside the building and use it with its 4-hour rechargeable battery and get a connection anywhere. So we don't have to have Wi-Fi. Also, the unique feature here, what I find when I work with students in the classroom, which we highly recommend, if you have students who are viable, please contact us. We'll get a hold of our dealers, have them come out and work with the students. We have touchscreen navigation, which means basically you can control the camera physically with the touchscreen of the iPad or tablet. Very unique. You can move it, north, south, east, west. You can pinch and pull, which basically says you can enlarge the print by just what you do on a touch screen, just like you may do if you're using a touch screen laptop or phone. It's very easy, and the students really like it because it really is right in their wheelhouse. Another unique feature is the distance camera, which we all know from a teacher perspective, we want that student to be engaged, just like the sighted students, to be able to see the smart board, the whiteboards, or any type of maps that are located in the actual classroom. So the distance camera can be done robotically with a touch on the iPad. The camera automatically opens the shutter screen, opens the screen, and it turns, and you can manipulate with your finger and move the camera left to right inside the classroom. Let me also back up for a minute. We also have a joystick remote that comes with it as well. So you have a choice, whether it's touchscreen on the device or it's by the remote control. Another unique image is that we have an SD card. And the uniqueness of the SD card is that we can save OCR or any type of JPEG images. So if I wanted to take a snapshot of a geometry equation off the board, off a PowerPoint, and save it to my SD card, I can recall that at any time in the future. I can remove the SD card and put it into a PC. If I were doing any type of TXT editing, I could do that as well with the SD card. So this opens up a world of possibilities for the student, whether it's in the classroom or at home, depending if you allow the equipment to go back and forth. But the SD card comes into play, and it comes with a 16 gigabyte SD card. So it has more than enough storage, and it can actually get a larger card if you so chose. Another nice feature is the OCR. We do full screen, 8.5 by 11 OCR. And at that point, once it captures it, it starts to read the document. The document can be saved, again, and edited. But also, you can manipulate the image while it's OCRing, meaning you can change it from black to white, to yellow and black, and you can enlarge the print. It'll completely stay set word by word across the screen. And another nice part of that is that we have markers, line markers, and window masking, which makes it nice for an IEP if you have a student who needs to really look at a word by word or sentence by sentence, and you control the speed of the actual reading. So you can have the student just see the word pop up as it goes through, and that's a nice feature as well. Again, we know it's lightweight. We found out that, that this is a unique product, doesn't take a lot of desk space. Packs away in minutes, no messy wires, no need to sit near the outlet. You got a 4-hour rechargeable continuous use battery. I think it's less disruptive. One thing that's unique about the eBot Pro is that the student doesn't necessarily have to have it on their desk. If you can vision this could live up front, and the student could sit back like the rest of his classmates and manipulate this either by the remote or by the iPad or tablet, whatever. So you don't necessarily have to have the equipment sitting on the student's desk like you do primarily with a lot of the video magnifiers out there today. And a lot of teachers that I've met with really like that because, again, sometimes students are opposed to having the equipment on their desk. So this is a take it anywhere you need it type of product. Again, the intuitive controls, touchscreen gestures, the joystick from the remote. I think it reduces distraction and actually increases the learning curve from the perspective that the student's going to enjoy this. This is their world. This technology is really what it's all about right now for them. I think they will embrace it. And that will keep their eyes focused on the materials they're working with in the classroom. The cool part about the distance capabilities is that the student can read an essay question or copy a spelling word from the whiteboard. We say blackboard here, we're a little dated, but the whiteboard. And that's the capturing of the SD card so they can look at it at a future time. or look at it, magnify it, blow it up, move the camera, literally, very simply, left to right. You can adjust the speeds there. So capturing from a distant mode allows the students to capture the board during a testing period. Right example, essay questions, charts, graphs, and they grasp it right there on their device, whether it's a laptop they may be using, a tablet, or an iPad. They have it. And one thing I did not cover is that the eBot can also be attached to, hardwired to a larger monitor if necessary. We can connect it to an HD 50-inch screen if you so chose. We have the capabilities and the outlets on the back of the eBot to hardwire it to a larger monitor. But the beauty is being basically very transportable, easy to carry. Now the OCR, like I mentioned before, can be read line by line or word by word. And during an assessment, that could be very key for a student who's having some other learning issues. To slow that down, be able to look at the word, recognize it, depending on their visual impairment, this comes in real handy. The eBot Pro also has a really neat feature called auto scroll. And what I've worked with teachers is that you can window mask out just the sentence you're working on and adjust the speed of the camera will scroll as like we read left to right at a speed you set and a parameter in which you set, whether it's a book or a newspaper article. So it's kind of unique. If you use it properly, it can be a really unique learning tool. And you also have a lot of room to write underneath of it. It's got about 18 inches between the camera head and the desk platform. So you can easily, manipulate things. And the eBot makes a great combination. I can't speak more volume about the eBot because when I do, and I've done a lot of education over the years with different products, the teachers and the students both agree it's really where it's at today. I guess we're going to open up for Q&A for people out there who've got questions. Feel free. You can unmute yourself if you so chose. Let me also, while I have a minute here, reiterate that if you are a TVI, wherever you may be located, I would take advantage of us coming to your school and doing a workshop with you, students, other teachers, staff, during a monthly or quarterly meeting. It's really important, I think, that you see our Braille products up close, as well as our low vision products. And really, when we can kill two birds with one stone.
And you could email any of us to set that up.
I take advantage of it while we're thrown out and the training that's involved, and we have educational experts on staff. So that's what they do. They work within education. And again, if you want to, hey, compare us to your current products, by all means. Proof is in the pudding, as we say.
And we would never back down from an opportunity to compare because we feel pretty good about where we are.
Keep in mind, while I still have some of you, that this is archived. All our webinars are a great tool we take pride in, that for years we've been doing webinars every month with different topics, and you can always go to the archive and you can learn a lot from the different webinars to refresh if you have any issues or questions or something you're not quite sure about. So it's a great tool. Well, if there's any questions,
can you guys hear me now?
We can.
Hi. There was something wrong with the microphone on my computer, and I was talking, and you guys couldn't hear. There are questions in the chat window, and since I'm connected now, I'll read them out and let you guys answer some of these. We had a comment from Joni, and she had a great comment. She said, our students love to sit in the back if they can after many years in the front row. So a nod to the eBot Pro for being able to sit in the back row. And here's another question. She wanted to know if we are able to send a link to all of the screenshots that we are using today. And actually, all of you, if you want access to these slides, there is a link in the email with the link for the webinar. If you scroll down a little further, there's a link to download the PowerPoint. And the only thing not included in that PowerPoint are the top secret instructions for locking features on the YouTube. So if you guys would like the teachers only version, email me directly so I can verify that you are in fact a teacher and not a student, and I will get you the version that has all of those top secret steps in it. And here's a question for one of you guys. How does it compare to the Visio books?
It's a good question. The Visio books, number one, depending, it's not as transportable. It's a little bit heavier and bulkier. One thing that you have to do with a Visio book is you have to actually physically turn the product, the whole Visio book, left and right in order to capture something over to the left side of the classroom or the right side of the classroom. So it becomes a little bit more involved instead of being able just to manipulate the eBot camera. It stays directly where you put it, and you can move the camera back and forth and up and down. So it's a little bit involved from that perspective. I think we're a little bit more easier transportable, plus we have Wi-Fi connection, which they don't have. Theirs is a screen. It's your more or less your typical classroom video magnifier.
Okay, great. That's the last of the questions I see right now. If anyone else has questions, if you're using a screen reader and you'd like to activate your microphone or unmute yourself, you would push F6 and then Control-M, and it'll unmute you, and you can say hello and give the guys a shout. Another question from the chat window, and you're all welcome to enter a question in the chat window, and I'll read it aloud. Tamika wants to know, what is the standby time for the eBot Pro?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what she's meaning by standby time.
Well, and it does shut down automatically too. So I think the standby is the non-active battery life, but it'll shut itself down after a certain period of non-use.
Well, it will. I just haven't had that luxury, if you will. When I'm demonstrating the classroom, we're usually manipulating the camera and it's moving. I don't have an actual time. That's something we can find out. I don't have it, whether it's after 15 minutes of non-movement or use. It'll shut down and reserve the battery. I just hadn't had that luxury.
Well, the other cool thing is, too, that you can get a second battery if you know you're going to need more than 4 hours, or if you're going overnight and you're going to need it 2 days in a row and don't have a plug for whatever reason. You could get that second battery and carry that around with you if you need it, too.
That would be a wise choice.
And then someone wanted to know, how much is it?
The eBot Pro is currently through October 31st, $34.95 plus shipping. It's regularly $38.95, so it's reduced $400 through October 31st.
And then Jerry wants to know if any of these items are not allowed for testing purposes such as ACT or SAT testing.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I can't say for sure for ACT or SAT, but I know for the standardized tests, at least for the K-12 grades, kind of the rule of thumb is if it's part of their IEP and they need it for classwork and they need it for homework, then they are allowed to use it on the test. Some of the publishers have a list of approved devices. Those are more suggestions. It's not that things not on that list aren't approved. Those are just items that they've personally tested and will guarantee to a certain point will be compatible with their test. But at least for the K-12 grades, if you deem as a teacher, as an administration, that tool is necessary, then that tool is allowed. As far as the ACT and the SAT, I don't know what the rules are in that, but I would think, as far as discrimination disability laws go, that it would sort of be the same thing. As you might have to get an administrator or a college person to sign off and say that it's necessary to allow it there. But I would maybe reach out directly to the ACT and the SAT providers and ask them that question. I don't see any other questions here. If anyone wants to send another question over, I'll read it aloud. We'll hang out for another few minutes. In the meantime, I do have information on the screen if you'd like to give us a call to learn more about any of these products or to have a demonstration at your office or your school. You can give us a call at 888-520-4467. If you'd like information on any of the products or quote, you can email sales@HIMS, HIMS-Inc.com, sales@HIMS-Inc.com. And if you have any suggestions for webinars, we would love to hear from you guys. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover or just feedback on a webinar that you've attended, please let us know, and you can send an email to webinars@hims-inc.com. And as always, you can go to the website, hims-inc.com/webinars to see the upcoming webinar topics. We have some fun topics through the end of the year. We've got one on some shopping tips, so things like how to use your Braille Sense U2 to do price comparisons while you're sitting right in front of the sales guy and he has no idea that you're on Google shopping him out. So just kind of fun stuff like that for the holiday, before the holiday hits. And then we're going to have a webinar on some UEB changes that are coming down the line and how to change your HIMS product over to the UEB. It's in there, it just needs to be turned on. And then in December, probably one of the most fun topics we've ever done, we're going to have an internet holiday party. So, you know, we want, since everyone can't come to Austin and have an actual live holiday party with us, we're going to have a webinar where we'll have some trivia and some games. We'll do some prizes and giveaways and possibly some small gifts for everyone who attends live with us. So if you go to online to hims-inc.com/webinars, you have the opportunity to sign up for any of those or all of them at once. So if any of those sound appealing, go ahead and do that. And I don't see any other questions in the chat window here. I want to thank you guys, both Andy and Michael, for helping to present today.
Our pleasure, my pleasure.
And we're going to close it out. If anyone has any questions after the webinar, definitely email us or get in touch. And just have a great rest of your week.
Take care all. Thanks for joining us.